What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to, of course, be talking about with you guys. We've recently just got some big news actually revolving around the New York Knicks yet again. We have heard this rumor so many times now, but it is heavily being reported that the New York Knicks sent front office staff to Game 1 and Game 2 to monitor Donovan Mitchell. And there's a lot of rumors going around that they actually may have potentially talked to him, which I don't know, surely that would have to be tampering of some sort. But we, like a month ago, heard rumors as well that the New York Knicks were heavily trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell and were talking to his agent, all of this stuff. And then a couple months before that, we knew that the Utah Jazz are having a bit of an issue right now with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and a kind of understanding that they're going to have to be trading one of them this offseason, as the duo just isn't meshing the way they wanted to. And again, there's a bit of an issue going around with them, which again is kind of hurting the chemistry. But when it comes to Donovan Mitchell, another thing to point out is he is actually from the New York area. And another thing is too, they are really looking to try and trade for a star. And again, I have a lot of really interesting opinions that I would like to talk about. First of all, if it came down to Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell and a potential trade on who they would, of course, move out, we know that I think they would move out from Rudy Gobert before they eventually did Donovan Mitchell. I think that's first and foremost that, again, if it was one player was going to get traded, it would, I would assume, be Rudy Gobert. And there's been a lot of teams heavily interested in him. We know that Donovan Mitchell is like their franchise guy. He's the guy that they, of course, want to keep long term, and they really want him to take Utah to potentially winning a championship. But we know that a lot of moves need to be made. The Utah Jazz are kind of stuck in a rut right now, and they just can't seem to necessarily go where they want to. Again, at the time of making this video, they are 1-1 in the playoffs. Again, I guess when this video comes out, they might have beaten Dallas by now. They might not have. I'm not exactly too sure when this upload is coming out. But again, the thing we know is they've got some big, heavy issues, and it's going to be really hard to see what they potentially, of course, go to. Now, again, I think there's a lot of things to go with this. Donovan Mitchell, first and foremost, as well. I don't necessarily know how long or how he fits in Tom Thibodeau's game style. For some reason, Tom Thibodeau just really likes to play players who are good defensively. He can not seem to necessarily run the greatest offense out there, and I think he's got a lot of capable defenders, like we know Emmanuel Quickley, even Obi Toppin can be an alright guy defensively, Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett. I still don't think Julius Randle's as bad as a defender as some people say he is. I still think he's a good one. And then again, you've still got a couple other players here and there. But then, of course, they brought in some more offensive talent like Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker this offseason. And none of those players played like how people wanted them to. They couldn't get open. Nothing seemed to work out. And I think a lot of that is going to be partially blamed on Tom Thibodeau and just the way he coached. I really do think we know that Kemba Walker will not be on this Knicks team next year, you wouldn't think. I think they may move on from Evan Fournier, especially now that they brought in Cam Reddish, who, might I add, Tom Thibodeau also didn't want for some odd reason, even though he can be a good defensive player in the future. For some reason he didn't want. I still think they'll move on from Fournier. They'll force Tom Thibodeau to eventually play Cam Reddish, I think. And then again, I don't exactly know what they're going to go from there. But a part of me wonders, could they actually trade for, you know, Donovan Mitchell and play Donovan Mitchell at the 1? Now, I know Donovan Mitchell is not known to be the best playmaker. He only averaged 5 assists per game. But I genuinely think there are so many clips that were going around of Donovan Mitchell just waving off Rudy Gobert and not playmaking to him, obviously because it seems that they just don't like each other. I believe that if he actually passed to Rudy Gobert and playmake to him, that he could have 7 assists to his name, which would be a pretty good number and stat. So maybe he could, I feel like if he had those numbers up, people would actually have his playmaking going a little bit differently. And a part of me wonders if they were able to trade, like, who knows, let's just say a package of Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, and 2 or so first round picks, 2 or 3, probably are going to have to be 3. I mean, if James Harden was traded for, you know, like the 4 first round picks, 4 pick swaps, Victor Oladipo, etc. on the Rockets, and he was playing as good as what Donovan Mitchell was at that time. Again, he was not playing that good for the Rockets in that first half of the season he played there. It makes me think that you're going to have to trade quite a bit up for Donovan Mitchell if you want him. Again, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin are the 2 obvious young guys that have to send out. To match up contracts somewhat, you'd have to put Evan Fournier in there. And again, it'd probably be 2 to 3 first round picks. And even if you're a Knicks fan, you're 100% doing that deal. Because let's just say they went out and actually brought in a solid center, which we know they're extremely rumored to. I don't know who it would be. There's been a big rumor it could be Miles Turner because of how good defensively he is and how much he would fit in Tom Thibodeau's game style. Imagine a starting 5 of Donovan Mitchell at point guard, RJ Barrett at shooting guard, Cam Reddish at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, and Miles Turner at center. Every single player in that starting lineup can shoot threes. They can all be good defensively, except maybe Donovan Mitchell. They can all pass the ball really well. Like, all of those guys in that lineup are really good passers. And I think they'd all fit in Tom Thibodeau's style. Potentially, it would be a really, really good starting 5. And especially if you got 20 point per game RJ Barrett like we were seeing towards the end of the year, which I think he will start to get better and better like that. Again, you'd have 3 guys that are going to average around 20 per game. All of them can shoot threes. The issue I have is it too much shot creators in that starting 5? Because again, Cam Reddish wants shots, RJ Barrett wants shots, Donovan Mitchell wants shots, Julius Randle wants shots. I don't think Miles Turner really cares. But again, there's a lot of shot creators there. Then off the bench, you would have to fill it out with some role players. You still got Alec Burks, a good shooter, Derrick Rose. I don't know what his future is on the team. Mitchell Robinson, another good defender. Nerlens Noel's there. Quentin Grimes there. You probably have to fill out that bench. But it makes me think that would be a really interesting team. And honestly, of course, it'd be a playoff team if they could get it going. I'm not exactly too sure what they're going to look at. It is going to be really interesting to see. And to be honest though, I don't know if the Utah Jazz are really going to be looking at something like this though. It's going to be really tough. I still feel like they'll trade Rudy Gobert before they trade Donovan Mitchell. It just will probably honestly come to what Donovan Mitchell says and how he thinks he's going to potentially go about this. But of course, if you haven't already, I would really like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this. Please, of course, don't forget to make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA news and NBA content. Of course, don't forget to comment your thoughts and opinions on this down below. And yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.